Hello and welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be implementing the endpoint for adding a new article. So let's create a new function called add new article, and this function accepts the article map. And right below the on the onSubmit, we're going to call this function and pass the state. Now, if we refresh and publish, it should print the article object. Let's also use the print function instead of the console log. And now let's go to the articles namespace and declare a new state for submitting state. And this is defaulted to false, as well as the error state, and the value will be nil. And in line number 87, we're going to implement the function for adding a new article. So let's call this the create article function, and this is going to be a post function. And let's also copy all the dependencies. So we can copy the register function, and let's also define two more functions that handles the success as well as the error case. So for create success, this endpoint returns an article, and the error, in case of validation error, we want to show it to the user. So let's also update the handlers as well as the parameters. So for now, let's just log the error as well as the success response. Later on, we will save this in the atom and display it to the user. Now let's use this function in the add new article function. So instead of printing the article, let's call it. Now let's test our function. So if we click on publish article, right now it is returning 422. It means that there is some error with our payload. So if we add the title, now it should say description cannot be blank. If we add the description, it should say body cannot be blank. So this is the third time we are seeing this error. And finally, we have the article. So it looks like the tags are optional, but the rest are not. So as you can see, we have 3 error logged, and finally we have the success. So now that we have this thing working, let's also modify the create success as well as create error. So when we are creating an article, we want the submitting state to set to true. Otherwise, it is set to false. And we also want to let's also define the current article state, another reagent atom. So by now you must be realizing this is getting complicated, right? But it's good because it'll give us a good starting foundation when we are starting a reframe. So let's also, so now the next step is to use the submitting state in the button, in the publish article button, as well as the error state, which we will implement shortly. So we'll give a property to the button, and this button is disabled when the submitting state is set to true. So now if we click on publish article, you can see that it gets disabled for a brief period of time. We will also require the list errors component. This component will be used to display the errors basically. And as you can see, this component is being called right above the form component. So so now if we refresh and let's publish an article, we should see the error displayed right above the component. So we have a problem where if we press enter, it is making the request. So we don't want that, but let's worry about that later. Actually, let's just delete the onSubmit from the form and let's put it in the button itself. Let's see if this solves the issue. So if we add tags and press enter, no. So this is not solving, it is still making the API request when you press enter. So there seems to be a bug and I am not sure what's happening, what's causing it. So let's see. Yeah, if I press tags, if I enter tags and press enter, it's making the request. Let's just delete the field set, and maybe this might solve the issue, as well as the form component. So for that we need to indent all the field set as well as the tag list as well as the button. And now if you delete the form and enter the tags and press enter, so okay, this seems to be working. So let's go with this for now until I figure out what's causing this issue. Yeah, we can move ahead to the next step. So if we inspect the current article state, we should see the newly created article. Let's also update the remove tag function. So instead of looping over the tag list, we can just use the disjoint function, since we have tag list as a set. So we can say disjoin the tag, the set, and just remove the tag. So now everything should work. So the next step is to abstract the article state into an editor, so that we can use this when we are updating the article as well. So this editor for now only accepts a single argument, the initial state, and we just use that as the initial state. And in the create new article component, we're going to call this, we're going to use this article, this editor component that we just wrote, and we can delete the rest. And instead of passing it, let's just pass it as a map. And we also need to destructure the editor in the parameters. So everything seems to be working. Body can be blank. So yeah. So the next step is to, so I figured out why why we were getting the error. So let's add the form as well as the field set component back. Now if we try to enter the tags and press enter, as you can see, it's making a request. Now the reason is because in the button we have to pass the type attribute and we have to give it a button. I know this is crazy, right? Now everything should work.